Show, don't tell. The favorite phrase of lazy high school writing teachers. One of the most important rules of writing. The dawn of great stories and the sunset of terrible bores. And even if that makes the difference between the live-action Netflix Avatar and the classic animated series, at a time I didn't actually know what it meant. For some reason, no matter how many videos I watched on the topic, I couldn't get myself to grasp the concept. Well, I kinda got it. You're supposed to show what's going on instead of telling it, because it immerses the reader into the story and gets them invested in your plot and characters. Okay, got that. But how? How do you take a sentence and start showing it? What's the difference in a script between showing and telling? I mean, I know how it works at least. I know how it gets people invested in your story. You know, it's kind of like a crossword puzzle. I mean, if some guy just came up to you and gave you the answers, you'd get pretty mad, right? Oh, gee, thanks for helping me solve it. It's not like I was already doing that or anything. That's how it feels when a story tells when it should show. Because stories are puzzles. As we read or watch a story unfold, we are actively solving them, trying to figure out the plethora of these questions. What is going on? What just happened here? What impact is this going to have? What's going to happen next? What's the answer to this stupid cliffhanger? And when the credits roll, what did it all mean? Was it even good, or was it pure garbage? This kind of guideline helps create immersion for the reader, the most important part of any story. It's that sinking feeling you get when you read a good book and the outside world just melts away. It's when you're reading a chapter or two at night and suddenly it's 2 a.m. It's loving your characters so much that you want to just jump in the story and help. And for just a moment, you believe that the story is real. It's magic, literally. The best magic tricks are those when you have no clue how the trick was done. And you're so baffled by it for a moment, you believe that the magic does exist, that there's no other explanation. That's how immersion happens. As a reader or viewer, you don't actually know how a story was written, and especially with stories that are actually good. You'll be so baffled as to how this was achieved that for a moment, you believe that it's not a story, that it's real people and events that exist. There's no other explanation to you. That's why we're told to follow show, don't tell. We don't want to ruin the puzzle, nor do we want to ruin the magic. Here's the part we're all probably stuck on. Even after all that, how do you actually do this? I know all the stuff about immersion and not ruining the puzzle, but when I sit down and write, nothing. I got all my notes and outlines, but how do you make it show? As a reader, it's fine if you don't know the trick, but not when you're the magician on stage. Okay, to demonstrate to you what it is I mean, check this. Jane is sad. I'm sure we can all agree that this is telling and not showing. And writing gurus would tell you that you have to show Jane's sadness. Describe her body language. Use the setting to represent her emotions. Use symbolism. Oh, the symbolism. Perhaps something like this. Jane sat, pulling her knees as close to her chest as she could. A tear rolls off her cheek and onto the cold bathroom floor. But is it though? I hear you say. Didn't you just tell me that she was curled up in a ball and that a tear rolled onto the floor? Instead of showing it? Isn't that still telling? In fact, it doesn't even matter what you write, because as soon as you write it, you're telling me about it, because you just wrote it. So what's the difference? Alright then, how about we use an example from a pre-existing text? Teenage girls were primarily supposed to be interested in hockey players, not hockey. Damn, what a line. But why do I love it so much when it's telling me, isn't it? It's telling me that girls should crush on hockey players instead of playing hockey. So doesn't that mean the line is bad? But the thing is, when I read it, it didn't ruin the puzzle. And it definitely didn't ruin my immersion. Quite the opposite, actually. So telling works now? Is it all just a lie? Is it just what they want you to think? Do you actually know what you're talking about? Okay, let's set the confusions aside and break this down to see how it works. Teenage girls were primarily supposed to be interested in hockey players, not hockey. The word supposed here implies that this is a rule that is enforced on the girls in the town. The rule being that hockey is only for boys, and girls are only there to affirm them by being their girlfriends. Beartown has a misogynistic culture and encourages the boys to be violent, macho, and rowdy on and off the ice, while the girls are the hot chicks in class that everyone's fighting over. With this, it's simple cause and effect. The culture is the cause, while the effect is the unwritten social norms such as girls only liking hockey players and not the hockey itself. What ended up on the page is the effect, while what ended up off the page is the cause, leaving it to the readers to figure it out. This is telling, because this isn't an effect of anything, this is the cause, and the story doesn't write the effect of it either. But this is the effect of Jane's sadness, that's why it is showing. If you want to show something, you write the effect of that thing, not the thing itself. We've all struggled with this issue for God knows how long, and you can see it in every word on every story I wrote before my current one. And thank God I picked up these books. If there was any book that convinced me that reading more actually helps you become a better writer, it was Beartown. So go ahead and read it. By the way, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, read this now. I'm not giving you a choice. Now, as much as high school writing teachers like to harp on about show, don't tell, I'm about to end their whole careers and subvert everything you knew about writing as a whole. Telling isn't always a bad thing. Don't believe me? Well, that's a topic for another time.